You know that feeling, right? When you're so worried you feel physically sick? Or when fear gives you that horrible pit in your stomach? We usually just dismiss those as figures of speech. But what if they're not? What if they're describing something that's literally happening inside our bodies? Today, we're going to dig into a really fascinating source that makes a huge claim. Our thoughts don't just influence our health, they actually command it. So let's just get right to it. Here's the big question. Can your thoughts, the stuff going on in your head, actually physically make you sick? Well, the source we're looking at today gives a resounding yes. It's a powerful perspective, and we're going to unpack exactly how it makes that case. Okay, so to really get this, we have to start with the foundational idea that the source lays out, and that is the mind's absolute rule over the body. So here's the core concept, and it's a pretty interesting one. The source suggests that our minds are naturally designed for positive thoughts. Joy, peace, things like that. It actually describes negative thoughts, worry, fear, anger, as foreign invaders. Like they're these unnatural intruders that just don't belong there. And as you can imagine, when these invaders take over the mind, the body is the one that really pays the price. The source even uses this really striking analogy. It says a body under the control of negative thoughts is like a good person who's been captured by villains. It just gets weaker and weaker, day by day. It's a pretty intense way to think about it, isn't it? All right, so that's the theory. But what about the proof? Well, this is where things get really interesting because the source brings in a whole lineup of doctors and scientists to back all this up. Let's see what these experts had to say. First up, we've got a Dr. Alston, and listen to this. He connects emotions like fear, envy, and despair directly to physical harm. He says they don't just mess with your mood, they actively slow down your body's functions and, get this, dry up the blood. I mean, wow, that's a pretty severe physical reaction. And next, here's a name we all recognize, Darwin. He zeroed in on chronic worry, and he observed how you can actually see its effects. It's not just some internal feeling. It's right there on the surface. Slower circulation, a pale face, even dryness in the muscles. The way you feel on the inside is literally written all over your body. And when you break it down, look at the full picture Darwin was painting. It's a complete top-to-bottom physical response. We're talking about everything from the blood in your veins to the way you carry yourself. Drooping eyelids, a sunken chest, your head hanging down. It's that classic image of someone who's just been beaten down by life, and Darwin connects it directly to that internal state of worry. And it wasn't just him. The source keeps building the case, creating this pattern of evidence. For instance, a Sir James Paget linked chronic worry to boils. A Dr. Murchison connected old sorrow to something as serious as liver abscesses. And a Dr. Maudsley even claimed that mental agitation could literally stunt your physical growth. You start to see this really clear pattern emerging, right? Now, this next one from Dr. Elmer Gates, this really raises the stakes. He doesn't just say these emotions slow things down or cause problems. He claims they produce terrible poisons in the body. The idea is that these negative states of mind aren't just passively harmful. They're actively creating toxic substances inside you that cause real damage. So, if negative thoughts can do all of that, this leads us to the most dramatic part of the evidence. What specific diseases does the source claim they cause? This is where it all comes together in a really startling way. The source puts a big spotlight on a Dr. Takane, and he makes what is probably the boldest claim of all. He argues that two main emotions, fear and grief, are the hidden roots of a surprisingly huge number of physical illnesses. And just look at this list. Take a second to really see the scope of what he's claiming. We're not just talking about headaches or feeling tired here. According to this text, we're talking about paralysis, liver disease, even premature baldness and tooth loss. Dr. Takanani argues that all of this can actually start in a mind that's been consumed by fear or grief. It's pretty incredible. But this might be the most shocking claim of all. He states that during massive epidemics, like cholera or the plague, more than half of the people who die aren't actually killed by the disease itself. They die from the fear of the disease. I mean, just think about that for a second. Fear becomes more deadly than the plague. That's how much power this source gives the mind over life and death. Okay, so after hearing all that pretty alarming evidence, you've got to be wondering, is there a solution, an antidote? Well, thankfully, the source doesn't just leave us with all this doom and gloom. It's actually very direct about how to stay healthy. So what's the answer? Well, based on everything we've just seen, the solution is presented as this almost deceptively simple two-step prescription. Step 1, actively try to be happy and cheerful. And step 2, be like a guardian at the gate of your mind, and don't even let those foreign bad thoughts get close. It's a very straightforward, if, maybe challenging, plan of action. At the end of the day, the entire argument of this text really boils down to this one powerful central idea. All the expert opinions, all the lists of diseases, they all point to one thing. Your physical health is basically a mirror of your mental health. So if you want to take care of your body, the real work has to start in your mind.
And that brings us to a final question, one that's a bit more personal. It's easy to hear all this and think of it as just some old abstract concept, but let's bring it into the here and now. As you go about the rest of your day, what are your thoughts telling your body?